I found the receipt in the trash. It was one of those long, curled-up thermal ones from a hotel downtown. A place we'd never stayed. A room booked for one night, a Saturday, while I was on a work trip. I only saw it because I knocked over the trash can while reaching for a charger cord behind the couch. Something about the date and the name on the card hit me like a gut punch. G. Holloway. That wasn't me. That was no one we knew. Or so I thought. I stared at it for a long minute, trying to rationalize it. Maybe she booked a spa day. Maybe it was for a friend. Maybe this was nothing. But deep down, I knew better. That kind of denial is a luxury you get before things start to unravel. After that, it's just survival. I should probably introduce myself. My name is Mark Langley. I'm just a regular guy, 41, ex-military, now a field rep for a construction materials company. Married to Dana Langley. Father to 2 boys, Jake, 14, and Tyler, 9. We live in a suburb outside Dallas. Quiet neighborhood, good schools. From the outside, picture perfect. But picture perfect can hide a lot of rot. I married Dana when I was 27. She was 24 and stunning. Like, stop you in your tracks beautiful. The kind of woman who knew the power she held and didn't mind using it. I mistook confidence for loyalty, manipulation for charm. Hindsight's cruel like that. She worked in pharmaceutical sales, made decent money, always dressed like she was heading to a Vogue shoot. High heels, tight skirts, perfume that lingered in every room. I used to love that about her. Used to. Things hadn't been right for a while. It started subtly. She became more glued to her phone. Started going to work events on weekends, or leaving the house dolled up with vague explanations. Her tone toward me shifted too, from loving to cold, sarcastic. Like I was something she had to tolerate. Like I was in her way. I chalked it up to stress. The kids, her job, maybe even boredom. We weren't young anymore, and marriage has its lulls. But then came the missed calls, the passwords changed on her phone, the sudden defensive snaps if I asked who she was texting. God, Mark, you're so paranoid. Are you going to follow me around now? That one stung. Mostly because it was exactly what I was starting to consider. And then came the hotel receipt. It wasn't the smoking gun. Not yet. But it cracked the foundation. Once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. I started looking at everything differently. Every conversation felt loaded. Every smile looked fake. Her eyes no longer looked into me. They looked through me. Still, I didn't say a word. I didn't storm in with accusations or demands. I waited. I watched. I started keeping notes. I took photos. I even put a keylogger on her laptop while she was out getting her nails done. And with each passing day, the ugly truth rose closer to the surface. The first undeniable proof came a week later. She left her work tablet charging in the kitchen. Notifications buzzed as I walked by. I glanced. A calendar invite popped up. Dinner, 8 p.m. at Majori's. I knew that place. Pricey, downtown, romantic. It wasn't the kind of spot you hit for a team meeting. And it wasn't my dinner reservation. When she got home that night, she smelled like wine and expensive cologne. Not hers. I asked how the sales training dinner went. She didn't miss a beat. It was boring. Long. A bunch of middle-aged guys trying to impress the reps. I didn't even finish my food. She looked me in the eye when she said it. That's the moment I knew. Knew she was capable of lying to my face without flinching. Knew she was sleeping with someone else. Knew she didn't love me anymore. But even then, I didn't confront her. Not yet. Because I was going to destroy her first. This isn't a story about heartbreak. This is a story about vengeance. See, Dana didn't just cheat. She planned it, nurtured it, used me and the kids as camouflage for her double life. And as I peeled back the layers, what I uncovered was worse than any affair. She wasn't just sleeping with one man. There were at least 3. I found burner accounts, secret credit card statements, fake email addresses, videos saved in encrypted folders. And then, God help me, there was a hidden safe in the back of her closet. I cracked it with a stethoscope and a couple of YouTube videos. Inside were pills, cash, 2 fake IDs, and a USB drive. What was on that drive made me want to burn the house down. Videos. Of her. With different men. Some in our bedroom. Some in hotels. Some filmed by her, some by them. She was smiling. Laughing. Moaning fake pleasure for men who weren't her husband. Wearing lingerie I'd never seen. Saying things that shattered any illusion of innocence I had left. It was the coldness. She called me the paycheck. She joked about how I still kissed her after she got home from meetings. How easy it was to make me believe whatever she said. The woman I married wasn't just cheating. She was evil. I copied everything. Hid it. Backed it up. And then I sat down and started planning. What I'm about to do isn't noble. It's not heroic. It's not even legal. But I don't care. She picked the wrong man to betray. You don't really see it all at once. It's like a slow infection. A sickness you didn't know you caught, until the symptoms are too big to ignore. After the hotel receipt and the sketchy dinner invite, I became someone I never thought I'd be. A man hiding in the shadows of his own life. A man who checks timestamps, tracks phone locations, memorizes license plates. I wasn't just suspicious anymore. I was hunting. The first real clue came in the form of her phone. I waited until she fell asleep, her back turned to me like it always was now, and I lifted it from the nightstand. Her thumb was useless for unlocking it, so I used the video I took earlier of her unlocking it herself. Played it back in slow motion. Took me 30 seconds to match the code. And there it was. Text messages. Hundreds of them. Buried under fake contact names, Allison Yoga, Steph Hair, Rachel Nails. I opened Allison Yoga and found this gem. You were so deep last night. My leg's still shaking. Let's do the office again Tuesday. Unless your wife's got you on a leash faced with tears of joy. No pictures. Just filth. A smutty string of messages that made it clear this wasn't her first rodeo. The name he used to sign off? Greg. Greg Holloway. Same last name as the name on the hotel receipt. It didn't stop there. There were other men. Different styles, different tones. Some were crude and direct, others flirty and manipulative. Dana adjusted to each one like a damn shapeshifter. In some messages, she played the submissive role. In others, she was the boss. Every single man thought he had something unique with her. They didn't know she was running them all like a casino floor, taking what she wanted and giving just enough to keep them playing. I made a list. Greg, farmer rep, married, 2 kids. Troy, bartender, met him at her cousin's bachelorette party. Corey, personal trainer. Real original. Mr. Black, a name with no face. Just cryptic messages and photos of briefcases, champagne bottles, hotel doors. That one made my skin crawl. But it wasn't just cheating. Oh no, it went so much deeper. You learn a lot about a person when you open the one thing they thought you'd never touch. I only found the safe because she hid it like someone who wanted to be found. Sloppy. Arrogant. It was in the back of the closet, behind her winter coats and a tote labeled holiday wreaths. I watched a few YouTube videos, picked the lock. Easy. Inside were 5 things. A roll of cash, hundreds, maybe thousands, all in 20s. A baggie with white powder and a pill bottle with no label. A prepaid phone. 2 fake IDs, both with her face. A USB drive labeled Do Not Plug. I plugged it in. It was worse than I imagined. The folder was called Clients. Inside were video files. Each one named by date. Some were in hotels. Some in our house. Some were filmed without the man's face showing. Others showed Dana fully in control, talking into the camera like she was recording a diary. Laughing, whispering dirty lines, bragging about how much money she'd made. There was even one where she said my name mid-act, mocking it. Mark would die if he saw this. But he won't, because he's weak. And I always win. I stopped breathing for a minute. She didn't just cheat. She thrived on it. She bathed in deceit like it gave her life. And just when I thought I couldn't feel sicker, she kept a journal on her notes app, titled Game Board. I read all of it. She listed things like, how to guilt Mark into silence. Use the kids equals always works. Threatened to bring up the fight from 2013 if he gets nosy. He's afraid of being the bad guy. Use it. She referred to me as the shield. He protects my image. He's good with the kids. That's all I need him for now. But I'm not ready to lose the house. I sat there in the dark, reading it line by line. My heart didn't break, it calcified. Hardened. Her betrayal didn't just hurt me. It reconstructed me. The baggie in the safe wasn't for show. I ran it through a testing something synthetic I couldn't name. That explained the erratic behavior. The late night runs to Walgreens. The energy crashes. The paranoia. The time she picked a fight over cereal. She wasn't just cheating. She was hooked. And you know what addicts do when they get desperate? Anything. The burner phone had its own contact list. I scrolled through it like a horror show. One number stood out. Ms. K. It was her own mother. And the messages? Dana had stolen money from her. Guilt tripped her. Threatened to stop letting her see the boys if she didn't cover for a few things. She even forged a letter from her mother to submit to the bank for a fake loan. I found the scanned document on her cloud storage. At this point, I wasn't shocked anymore. Just numb. One night, I got home early. She didn't expect me. I heard her on the phone in the garage, her voice low, venomous, cold. If he gets suspicious, I'll throw the domestic violence card. He lost his temper in 13, remember that? I'll say I was scared. No court's going to give him the kids with that. She laughed. Laughed. She had the timeline rehearsed. The fake tears. The story. And she was willing to use our boys, our sons, as bargaining chips to protect her empire of lies. She still kissed me at bedtime. She still left sticky notes with, "Love you," scribbled in Sharpie. She still played the perfect wife at PTA meetings, in front of neighbors, at Sunday barbecues. But I knew. Every time she touched me, I imagined her fingers on Greg, on Troy, on Mr. Black. Every time she smiled, I saw the reflection of a monster. Because I had it all. The videos, the texts, the fraud, the fake IDs, the recorded call about framing me, and a plan that would crush her under the weight of her own sins. I wasn't going to just leave. I was going to erase her. But first, she was going to know I knew. When you know you're about to start a fire that can't be put out, you don't strike the match with shaky hands. You steady yourself. You lean in. And you make damn sure the spark hits dry wood. For weeks, I'd watched her lie to my face with Olympic grace. My wife, the mother of my kids, my supposed partner in life, smiling, scheming, seducing, stealing. But the real Dana Langley wasn't a mother. She wasn't a wife. She was a con artist who got high on deception. She didn't just cheat, she curated a whole museum of betrayal. And now it was time to close it down. I picked a Friday, 6:45 p.m. Our boys were at a sleepover with my cousin's kids, none the wiser. I planned it like a military op. Everything was prepped, recorders hidden, cameras rolling, backups on the cloud, and USB drives. I even brought a fireproof lockbox to hold my evidence in case she got violent. Dana walked through the door humming. She was dressed like she was auditioning for a reality show, heels, miniskirt, hair done up, makeup way too heavy for someone claiming she had a work dinner. I stood in the kitchen, holding a glass of water. Just water. No need for alcohol. Not tonight. I wanted to feel every damn second of what was coming. "Hey, babe," she said, tossing her purse on the island like she hadn't been screwing half the state. "Sorry, meeting ran late." I didn't respond. Just watched her with dead eyes. She paused. "What?" I set the glass down and walked over to the drawer. Pulled out a manila folder. Dropped it on the counter with a smack. "What's this?" she asked. I didn't speak. Just opened the folder. Inside were glossy photos, her and Greg entering a hotel, her and Troy in the parking garage, her with Mr. Black in a high-end suite. Stills from video footage. Copies of her texts. Screenshots of the journal entries. A flash drive taped to the inside cover. Her eyes flickered, but her face stayed blank. She reached for a photo and studied it. And then she smiled. Smiled. "Well," she said, setting it down, "guess the game's over." No apology. No tears. Not even a flinch. I waited for a crack. Something. But she just straightened her blouse, leaned on the counter, and looked at me like I was the one who owed her an explanation. "Who else knows?" she asked, cool as ever. "My lawyer," I said. "Anyone else?" "Not yet." She nodded slowly. "Then we can fix this." That stunned me. Fix. I asked. "Dana, you have videos of yourself snorting pills and calling me the idiot paycheck. You mocked me with my name in our bed. Fixing this? That's not even on the map anymore." Her smile faded into something colder. "I have more leverage than you think," she said. "You want to play dirty? Fine. Let's both roll in the mud. See who comes out dirtier. You want to threaten me now?" I said, stepping closer. "After everything?" She leaned in too. "If this goes public, I'll claim you abused me. I'll say I was scared for years. I'll cry in court and tell them about your anger. You threw a chair during that fight in 2013. Remember? You think I won't twist that? You'd lie to take my kids?" I asked. "I wouldn't have to lie," she whispered. "I'd just bend the truth. Like you used to bend your promises." That one hit harder than expected. She was referencing my business failure from years ago, when I put half our savings into a logistics startup that tanked. She never really forgave me for that. I didn't know it was still in her pocket. She kept going. "That I tried to save you. That you're unstable. And oh, by the way, your dad's military record? I'll leak it. The PTSD incident? You think that won't turn heads in family court?" I stepped back. My blood ran ice cold. She wasn't scared. She'd been planning this. She had scripts rehearsed, stories stitched together with just enough truth to make them believable. And then she dropped the final card. "You know what else, Mark? Greg isn't just a fling. He's my exit plan. He's been helping me get approved for a condo, cash under the table, no paper trail. I've got money stashed, accounts you can't touch. You think you caught me?" She laughed. I was already gone. And just like that, she turned around and walked toward the living room. But I wasn't done. Dana, I said, stopping her mid-step. She looked back. You forgot one thing, I said. What's that? She snapped. I picked up the remote and pressed play on the TV. The security feed began to roll. From earlier that day, a man entering the garage, planting something in her car. Her eyes narrowed. What is this? She asked. That's a private investigator I hired. You know the guy you thought was following you in the blue van 2 weeks ago? That wasn't paranoia. That was real. Her face stiffened. See, I had a feeling you were using again. So I had your car bugged. And guess what he found? A stash under your passenger seat. Bags of pills. Real fun stuff. Planted, she said quickly. Tested. Logged. Photographed. Not planted. I leaned closer. You threatened me with custody? You threatened to paint me as a monster? I'll beat you to it. You'll be in rehab by the time a judge even hears your voice. And the best part? You handed me everything. Now her expression broke. Panic. That was the first time I saw real fear in her eyes. Not because I had proof, but because she knew I was no longer afraid of her. And then the twist. She started crying. I didn't believe it. Not at first. But the sobs came hard. Shaking. Real. Her knees buckled and she sank to the couch. I didn't mean to, she choked. It got out of control. It started as fun, a game, and then I couldn't stop. I couldn't breathe without lying. I felt alive again. I felt like someone. I stared at her, expressionless. I loved you, she whispered. You just stopped seeing me. I almost responded. But then my phone buzzed. A notification. Backup files transferred to shared cloud. 47 new contacts. I frowned. Opened the app. The files weren't just videos. They were emails. Names I didn't recognize. Then I saw it, a message to Child Protective Services. An anonymous tip. About me. Abuse allegations. Sent 2 hours before I confronted her. I looked up. She was still crying. And in that moment, I realized. She played me. Even now. Even while breaking down. She'd preempted me. If anything happened tonight, she had a record ready. A fake tip sent anonymously. The timestamps would line up with my confrontation. She wasn't just a liar. She was a strategist. And she was ready to bury me if I let her. I gave her 3 days. 3 days of silence. No confrontation. No angry texts. I let her think she'd won. Let her sleep in our bed, pack school lunches, play the perfect wife for one last stretch of borrowed time. She didn't know I was feeding everything into the machine. On day 4, I woke up at 4 a.m. and started the fire. Not literal fire. Not yet. But what I unleashed burned all the same. It started with a single email. To HR at her job. Subject line. Sensitive footage of Dana Langley. Please review. Inside. A zipped file. Videos of her and Greg in the company-branded conference suite. Her snorting powder off a clipboard. Her mocking her own clients while giggling. I made sure the IP traced back to a library 3 towns over. Let them chase ghosts. 30 minutes later, her office phone rang. I know this because I was parked in the lot across the street, watching through binoculars. She stepped out of the building an hour later, her heels clicking on concrete like gunshots. I could almost hear the blood rushing to her face. Suspended pending investigation. But that was just the appetizer. I used her own burner phone to message her affair partners, every single one of them. My husband knows. Do not contact me. If you do, you'll be named in a restraining order. Then I messaged their wives. I told them everything. Screenshots. Times. Places. Even sent them video stills Dana had saved. The fallout hit like an earthquake. 3 marriages detonated in a single weekend. Greg's wife threw him out and posted a full expose on Facebook, tagging Dana. Troy got beat up by his brother-in-law. Corey's gym posted a formal statement distancing themselves from inappropriate employee behavior. I didn't lift a finger, just pulled the strings. Now came the creepy part. I used all the tools Dana once used to gaslight me, only I turned them on her. I changed her phone's ringtone to an audio loop of her own voice moaning Greg's name. I placed anonymous notes in her purse with timestamps of where she'd been and with who. I subscribed her to recovery support groups and trauma survivor forums, using her work email. I sent her a postcard, no return address. A good mother wouldn't do what you did. Every night, I'd unplug one lamp in the house, reset the kitchen clock, hide her keys for an hour. She started to question her own memory, her own reality. She began waking up in a sweat. I moved onto the mailbox. She received a letter, black envelope, unmarked inside except for a printed sentence. Judgment comes at night. She didn't sleep after that. I know, Because I watched the baby monitor camera I left synced in the hallway from my laptop in the garage. On a quiet Wednesday morning, I sent a file to our son's school principal. Inside, a photo of Dana holding a wine glass, clearly intoxicated, with bags of pills on the counter behind her. One of the kids in the background. I didn't want them to take the boys from her. I wanted them to watch her crumble first. But this was leverage. Real-world consequence. The school launched a wellness review. She was called in for a parental behavior discussion. They handed her a list of concerns. She called me afterward, her voice shaking. "Did you do this?" I answered calmly. "I'm just keeping our boys safe, Dana." She didn't speak. Just hung up. This part? Even I'll admit, it was messed up. Remember when I said she used to lie about where she got her jewelry? One of those pieces was a locket. Silver. Simple. Said, "Forever yours," inside. She always told me it was from her dad. It wasn't. I found out Greg gave it to her after their second trip to Chicago. I took it while she was sleeping. Next day, I mailed it back to her, broken open, the chain snapped in half, with one of Jake's old toys sealed inside, a toy soldier with no head. She screamed when she found it. I know because I was watching from across the street in a borrowed car. I froze our joint accounts. Moved my paycheck into a solo bank under a corporate umbrella with legal insulation. I withdrew everything else in cash and stashed it across multiple safety boxes. Then I contacted every creditor she had used to cover her secret expenses. The secret card she used to buy hotel stays and burner phones? She opened it using a forged signature, mine. So I disputed the charges. They dropped the balance and flagged her account for fraud. Her credit tanked overnight. One night, digging through more of her laptop's autosave passwords, I found something strange. A Dropbox account. Not her usual. The username was Snoqueen_fire. Inside were folders, marked by month. I opened one. It wasn't cheating footage. It was recordings of me. Audio files. Me on the phone. Me ranting after work. Me getting frustrated with her. Out-of-context clips she could use to spin a story. One clip showed me yelling about the failed business, about how no one believed in me. Another clip? Me crying. It shattered me more than anything else. Because she wasn't just building an escape plan, she was crafting a villain. And that was the role she cast me in. And then I saw it, a folder marked Emergency. Inside, an audio file named Final Move. It was her, speaking into a mic. "If anything happens, tell the police I feared for my life. That he made threats. That he hurt me before. I'll cry. I'll make the bruises. I'll tell them I stayed for the kids. They'll believe me. Because that's what people do. They believe the woman." I stared at the screen. I heard her voice. Cold. Practiced. Calm. Like this was just another sale. I printed the audio transcript. Highlighted her plan. Added it to my war folder. Then I did one last thing. I printed a single photo. It was of the boys. Smiling. Holding sparklers from the 4th of July. I mailed it to her, no return address, with one line scrawled on the back. They deserved better. The thing no one warns you about when you burn someone to the ground? You still have to walk through the ashes. I thought I was prepared for everything. I built the plan down to the second. Anticipated her every excuse, twist, and manipulation. But what I didn't prepare for was how the truth would hit the only people who never deserved any of this. Jake and Tyler. My boys. It was impulsive. A moment of raw emotion disguised as strategy. I told myself it was time to go nuclear, that Dana had dragged our family name through enough filth. But maybe I wanted her to finally feel it. So I took the war file, the one with all the receipts, videos, screenshots, her own confession audio. I zipped it, titled it plainly, "Everything you need to know about Dana Langley." And I dropped it in the family group chat. My parents, her sister, my brother, our cousins, and yes, the boys. At first, I didn't realize Jake was still logged in on his tablet. It was late. I figured they were asleep. 15 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Jake. "Dad, is this real?" I stared at the screen, frozen. Then another message. "Tyler," from Dana's mom's number. "Is Mom really doing that stuff in the videos?" The breath left my lungs. I hadn't meant for them to see it. But it was too late now. The truth doesn't wait for permission. The next morning, Dana was banging on my door. She looked like a ghost. Face pale, mascara smudged, blouse wrinkled like she hadn't slept. "You maniac," she hissed. "You traumatized our children." I didn't flinch. "No," I said. "You did. I just stopped covering it up." She burst into tears, real this time, maybe. I couldn't tell anymore. Even her sobs sounded staged to me now. "They won't even talk to me," she whispered. "Good," I replied. "They need time. You had no problem lying to their faces for years. Maybe now they'll start asking questions I couldn't. Her phone buzzed. I caught a glimpse of the screen. It was Jake. I don't want to live here anymore. I want to stay with Dad. She crumbled onto the porch steps. I didn't mean for them to get hurt, she whispered, hands trembling. But I knew the truth. She just didn't mean to get caught. Jake didn't say much at first. He shut down. Tyler asked a lot of questions, most of which I couldn't answer without darkening his world even more. But Jake? He went quiet. Too quiet. It wasn't until I caught him watching one of the videos, again, that I realized the depth of the damage. He looked up and said, "She used to sing this song to us. Now I hear her saying that to some guy named Corey." I didn't know what to say. He kept going. "She told me never to lie to you. She told us love was loyalty." How could she say all that and still? He couldn't finish. He just left the room. I knew right then that no amount of court rulings or settlements could ever repair what had been broken. Dana hadn't just betrayed me. She'd betrayed her role. The one thing no one gets to fake for long, being a mother. 2 weeks later, we were in front of a judge. Dana's lawyer was late. She came in alone. No makeup. Hair up in a knot. She looked like someone I used to know, before the surgeries, the stilettos, the lies. Just Dana. Raw. Cornered. My lawyer presented everything. The substance abuse, the fraud, the hidden accounts, the CPS alert. And of course, the recordings. When it was Dana's turn to speak, she just shook her head. "I lost myself," she said, voice breaking. "I became addicted to being wanted. I didn't know how to stop. And now my sons hate me." The judge didn't say much. But when the gavel hit, the ruling was clear. Full physical custody to me. Supervised visits for her. Mandatory rehab. Dana's body sagged as if gravity had finally caught up with her. A week later, something strange happened. I got a knock at the door. It was Dana's mother. She held an old photo, one of Dana at 16, holding a spelling bee trophy, beaming. "She wasn't always like this," she said, voice shaking. "I don't know what broke her, but I think part of it was me." She sat down, her eyes full of guilt. She watched me lie to her father. Saw me cheat. I told myself it was harmless. But she learned all the wrong lessons. She handed me a letter. She wanted to give this to the boys. "But I think you should read it first." I waited until she left. Opened it. Inside was one page, scrawled in Dana's frantic handwriting. "To Jake and Tyler. I'm sorry I wasn't the mom you deserved. I wanted to be. I just couldn't stay still. Couldn't be simple. I don't expect you to forgive me. But I need you to know, you were never the reason. You were always the only thing I got right. And I still love you, even if I don't know how to be someone worth loving back." I folded the note. Put it away. They weren't ready yet. Maybe they'd never be. People think the end of a marriage comes in one moment. One big explosion. But that's not true. It's 1,000 quiet cuts. 100 chances ignored. A dozen signs buried. I could have stayed. Tried to fix her. Tried to help her find herself, like she used to beg me to. But instead, I chose the boys. I chose stability. Safety. Truth. Not revenge anymore. Just peace. Some nights, I catch my reflection in the window and wonder if I became just as cold as she was. Was it worth it? Did I cross a line? But then I remember Jake's text. "Thanks for telling the truth, Dad." And I breathed. Because even if I lost a wife, I held on to the only thing that ever mattered. I sold the house. Too many memories in the walls. We moved into a smaller place by the lake. The boys like to fish now. I take them on hikes. We cook together. Laugh more than we cry. Sometimes Tyler asks if we'll ever all be together again. I don't lie. I just say, some things break for good. But I never say, because of your mother. They'll figure that part out in their own time. And when they do, I hope they remember that their father didn't run. He stood up. He told the truth. And he walked away clean. If you're waiting for the part where I say, "I've healed," or "I've forgiven her," you can stop holding your breath. That's not this story. This story isn't about rising above. It's about looking the truth in the eye, the ugly, rotted, festering truth, and deciding to keep walking anyway. I didn't write this for sympathy. I didn't share it so you'd call me strong. I wrote it because you need to know what betrayal really looks like. And because if you're sitting there right now with a strange feeling in your gut, like something isn't right at home, then maybe this story is your warning. Let me tell you exactly how far down a person can fall, and what it takes to get back up. Dana went to rehab. It was court mandated. She made it 3 weeks before she voluntarily checked out, claimed she was being emotionally abused by staff. I didn't even bother showing up for the review hearing. Her story was already unraveling without me saying a word. Then I found out something that hit worse than the videos or the fake IDs. She'd faked a miscarriage 6 years ago. Back when she said she'd lost the baby at 8 weeks. Back when we cried on the bathroom floor and held each other for hours. It was a lie. She was never pregnant. I found out through a billing report. She'd filed an insurance claim for a procedure that never happened, using a fake clinic code. I cross-referenced the provider. No such office existed. I called her sister to ask if she knew anything. Her exact words? "Oh, she's still telling people that happened?" Just when I thought I'd hit bedrock, she started digging again. 2 months after the custody ruling, I got a call from my cousin, Ryan. He worked for a local towing company. "Mark," he said, "I think I found something of yours." I drove down to the lot. He opened a black plastic bag taken from a car Dana had abandoned in the lot after missing payments. Inside the bag, a burned photo album. It was ours. Our wedding. Baby pictures. First Christmas. Birthday parties. She tried to destroy it. What kind of mother tries to burn evidence of her children's existence? Ryan handed me something else, too. Something he found hidden in the trunk under the spare tire. A sealed envelope marked "break glass if all else fails." Inside, a letter from Dana to someone named Reese. I didn't know who Reese was, but the letter made one thing crystal clear. Dana had been planning to flee the country. Reese was a fake name. But the passport I found hidden in the envelope wasn't. It was real. Issued under a fake ID, paid for with laundered money. Dana's plan? Fly to Belize. Start over. She had a boat slip rented. A burner phone waiting. Cash buried behind a storage unit she rented 2 towns over under the name Lynn Hargrove. She even had a contact in immigration. Someone who'd promised to look the other way if she crossed at a private dock. And the creepiest part? She'd planned to take Tyler. Only him. Jake, she said, was too old to manipulate. Her words. Not mine. I could have buried her. Could have taken all of this to the authorities and had her arrested for fraud, passport fraud, even attempted kidnapping. But I didn't. Because here's the real twist. She was already dead. Not physically, but reputationally, emotionally, spiritually. By the time I finished, Dana Langley was a shell of the woman she once paraded around as. Her friends abandoned her. Her family barely spoke to her. The men she used were either divorced, disgraced, or hiding. The kids didn't want to see her anymore. And every time she walked down a street, there was a 50-50 chance someone had seen the videos. That was enough. Sometimes justice doesn't wear a badge. Sometimes it just waits and lets you rot. If you're reading this and something in your chest is screaming, "This is my life too," listen to it. Don't ignore it. Don't assume you're overreacting. Because here's the truth. Cheaters aren't just people who make mistakes. Some of them, they're predators. They manipulate, gaslight, twist your mind until you don't even recognize your own reality. They feed on guilt. They thrive on secrecy. They weaponize compassion. And the longer you cover for them, the deeper they dig their hooks. People ask me now, "Do you still believe in love?" And I tell them the truth. Yes, but love without loyalty is like a house without walls. It might stand for a while, but the first storm will rip it apart. I learned that the hard way. And now, I don't love blindly. I don't ignore my instincts. I don't hand over my trust like it's a participation trophy. Because if someone wants your loyalty, they better be prepared to bleed for it. Jake's in therapy. Tyler's in karate. Says he wants to protect his brother. We talk openly now. No more lies. No more sugarcoating. When they ask about their mom, I give them the truth, age appropriate, but still honest. She made mistakes. And those mistakes hurt people. But it's not your job to fix her. That's what I tell them. And you know what? They're okay. Not perfect. Not untouched. But okay. They still laugh. Still hug me tight. Still tell me they love me every night. That's all I ever wanted. 6 months after I posted the family chat dump, I got an envelope in the mail. No return address. Just one line inside. "You ruined my life. I hope you're proud." No signature. But I knew who it was from. I burned it. Didn't even flinch. Because she was wrong. I didn't ruin her life. She did. I just turned on the lights and let the world watch her unravel in her own filth. There's a moment, after the war is over, where the silence is almost too loud to bear. When the fire dies down and the smoke clears, you don't feel peace. You feel emptiness. No more plotting. No more cameras. No more wiretaps or courtrooms or threats. Just you. And the wreckage. That's when the question hits, was it worth it? And I'll tell you the truth right here, right now. Yes. But not for the reasons you think. It came on a Tuesday. Dana hadn't contacted the boys in over a month. Jake stopped asking about her. Tyler still drew pictures of her sometimes, stick figures with long hair, standing in the background. And then the email came. Subject line, the truth. It was sent to Jake's school account. He shared it with me. Here's what it said. You turned on me. You both did. You believed every lie your father told you. You never once came to me and asked for the truth. You just threw me away like I meant nothing. After everything I did for you, I sacrificed for you. I suffered for you. And this is how you repay me. Don't come looking for me when you're older and realize what he really did. Don't pretend to care when I'm gone. I'm done trying to be your mother if you don't want me to be. She blamed them. Her own sons. 2 kids who had only ever wanted to believe in her. 2 boys who cried for her. Defended her. Still drew her birthday cards even after they saw the videos. And she turned the gun on them figuratively, but just as deadly. When Jake finished reading it, he didn't say a word. He walked outside, got on his bike, and rode around the block 6 times. When he came back, he just said, "She's gone." And he was right. I thought that moment would feel like closure. It didn't. It felt like loss. Not of her. I stopped mourning her long ago. But of the woman I thought I married. The life I thought we had. I realized something then, something I hadn't been ready to admit. Part of me still missed the lie. The lie had been comfortable, predictable, warm. It wrapped around me like a blanket even as it cut me underneath. The truth? It's cold. It doesn't say sorry. It doesn't put its arm around you at night. But it also doesn't betray you. And that's the trade. We don't talk about Dana every day. But when we do, I let them lead. I don't sugarcoat. I don't vilify. She made choices, I say. She hurt people. She hurt herself. That's on her. Sometimes they ask if she'll ever come back. I always say the same thing. If she does, you get to decide what to do with that. No one else. But I tell them this too. No one, not even your parents, has the right to poison your heart and then blame you for drinking it. Last I heard, Dana was couch surfing, lost her license, burned through what little money she stashed. The guy in Belize? Ghosted her once he saw the news stories. She tried to sue me for defamation. The judge dismissed it in 5 minutes. Then she tried to sue her mother for emotional damages. Her own mother countersued and won. Everything she touched turned to ash. She reached out to Jake again a few weeks ago. Just one line. I hope you regret what you did to me. He blocked her. Didn't even blink. We're good. Not perfect. Not untouched. But we're good. Jake made the honor roll. Tyler's doing karate and just earned his green belt. We eat dinner together. Play card games on Fridays. Watch movies with way too much popcorn. Sometimes I catch them smiling in a way that feels real. And in those moments, I think, this is what I fought for. Not revenge. Not justice. Just this. Peace in a house that used to be a war zone. If you've made it this far, maybe you're a man like I was. Maybe your gut's been telling you something's wrong. Maybe you're sitting there, reading this with a phone in one hand and a knot in your chest. Here's what I'll say to you. Listen to the silence. That's where the truth lives. And when you find it, don't run. Stand up. Face it. And if you have to burn it all down to save yourself and your kids, light the match. Because there's life on the other side of betrayal. It's not easy. It's not clean. But it's real. And it's yours.